Well, good morning, everyone. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. My name is Goldie Gamari, and I'm the MPP for Carleton here in Ottawa. I want to welcome everyone here today, especially Premier Doug Ford and Minister Caroline Mulroney. Welcome to Ottawa. Bienvenue à Ottawa. Today's announcement is good news for everyone in Ottawa. This is just another example of the commitment being made to Ottawa by Premier Ford and the Ontario government. It falls on the heels of last week's $44 million announcement to reduce wait times in Ottawa hospitals, the commitment to provide an extra $330 million per year in pediatric care to CHEO, and $3.1 million in funding to double the yearly capacity of Ronald McDonald House at the CHEO campus. Since being elected in 2018, the Ontario government has invested more than $2 billion in capital projects for education. In my riding of Carleton alone, we have received $211 million, which has resulted in the construction or expansion of 9 schools, providing classroom spaces for more than 5,000 students and nearly 300 childcare spaces. With that, I want to thank you, Premier Ford and Minister Mulroney, for keeping Ottawa as a top priority at Queen's Park. I now pass the podium to my colleague, the Honourable Caroline Mulroney, Minister of Transportation and Minister of Francophone Affairs. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Goldie. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. I'm so excited to be here in Ottawa today alongside Councillor Tim Tierney, MPP Gamari, and of course, Premier Ford. It's no secret that Ottawa is a great city. That's why people from around the world want to come here to work, visit, study, and raise a family. In fact, 75% of Eastern Ontario's population growth in the next 30 years is expected to happen right here in Ottawa. 75% de la croissance de la population de l'Est de l'Ontario au cours des 30 prochaines années devrait se produire ici même à Ottawa. With this growth in mind, it's critical that we invest in the infrastructure that will support our future. And that's exactly what our government is doing. Since 2018, we've invested hundreds of millions of dollars to repair and replace critical highway, bridge, and road infrastructure that the people of Ottawa rely on every single day. Depuis 2018, nous avons investi des centaines de millions de dollars pour réparer et remplacer les infrastructures d'autoroutes, de ponts et les routes essentielles sur lesquelles les gens d'Ottawa comptent chaque jour. This includes significant work on Highway 417, which is a lifeline for residents and the local economy. At the end of the day, our government knows that strong infrastructure creates strong communities. And it's thanks to Premier Ford's plan to build Ontario that the investments that we're making today will benefit generations to come. C'est grâce au plan du Premier ministre Ford de construire et bâtir l'Ontario que les investissements nous faisons aujourd'hui en bénéficiera les générations à venir. With that, I'll pass it over to Ottawa's transportation champion, Premier Ford. Thank you. Merci.
Well, good morning, everyone, and it's great to be back here in Ottawa. I was just here a few days ago, and thank you, Minister Mulroney, for that introduction. And I'm always thrilled to be here. I always tell people when I come to Ottawa, I have the best trips ever. So alongside Minister Mulroney and MPP Goldie Gamari, a local champion, I also want to welcome Councillor Tim Tierney. Representing the great city of Ottawa, and thank you for joining us, Councillor. I was speaking to the mayor yesterday, and I always tell everyone, there's no mayor I speak to more than Mayor Sutcliffe. I think we talk almost every single day. So, friends, Ontario's growing at an unprecedented pace. In the first quarter of 2023 alone, our population has increased by more than 114,000 people. Last year, stats came out from the feds, and 504,000 people arrived here in Ontario to call it home. That's the fastest growing region in all of North America, bar none. That's more than the entire population of Renfrew County in only 3 months. And here in Ottawa region, we're seeing more and more families putting down roots with new businesses and setting up shop. We're seeing hundreds of millions of dollars in new investments, as you heard from Goldie, it was amazing. The list that you rattled off, Goldie, that's pretty impressive. Investments like Nokia's $340 million investment to expand its operations in Canada. And when we're talking about the tech business folks, now Ottawa, Canada is the tech capital of Ontario, tech capital of Canada. And more recently, Veratus Tools made a $4.5 million investment to increase production as its Ottawa facility. These investments are a huge vote of confidence in the region and in our workforce. And talk about the workforce, I just love the frontline men and women here, and thank you for everything that you do. I keep telling them I'm going to jump on one of those excavators or the blade, one of the two. I can't wait to get on one of those. But as our population grows, our economy grows. We need to make sure our infrastructure keeps up. We're spending over $184 billion over the next 10 years, making sure that we're building the schools and the hospitals. As you heard right here in Ottawa, we have the second largest building in the entire country at the hospital. And Goldie, you were mentioning numerous schools that we're investing in. I think you mentioned over $211 million. We're building bridges and highways and roads. That's why we're working closely with Mayor Sutcliffe to build 151,000 new homes in Ottawa by 2031, to bring ownership into reach for more people. And across Ontario, we've embarked on the most ambitious capital plan in our province's history. We're building schools, as I mentioned, including, as MPP Gamari mentioned, investments of over $200 million in a riding of Carleton, providing more than 5,000 new student spaces. We're making historic investments in healthcare, including $50 billion to support more than 50 new hospital projects across the province. I always say, no matter where you live in the province, you're either getting a brand new hospital or an addition to the hospital. And that's including the $40 million for early planning to build Ottawa Hospital's new civic campus. We're investing $28 billion in roads and highways to keep people and goods moving. This includes our commitment to build and expand Highways 417 and 401 East. But friends, at a time when it's never been more important to deliver infrastructure for our growing province, we need to do everything possible to deliver on our commitment to build Ontario. We need to get it done. It shouldn't take 15 years to open a mine. It shouldn't take decades to build roads to the Ring of Fire. It shouldn't take years to get approval to build homes for growing communities. I apologize. Together with Indigenous communities and municipal leaders, with business and union partners, we have to ensure that Ontario is a place where our shared potential is limited only by the scale of our ambitions. Together, we have to ensure that Ontario is a place where we can do and build big things. And that's exactly what we'll do. That's exactly what we're doing here in Ottawa. We're getting it done. Since 2018 in Ottawa, we've invested almost $425 million towards road and highway improvements. This includes $170 million to rapidly replace bridges along Highway 417. And today we're here to celebrate the completion of 3 out of 5 planned bridge projects as part of the latest round to bridge replacements between Island Park Drive and Kent Street. We've now completed 6 bridges at 3 locations, including these ones at Bronson Avenue. And friends, I encourage everyone, if you haven't already, check it out, the time-lapse video of this bridge replacement on social media. It's amazing how fast they do this work. With rapid replacement technology, we're replacing these bridges in just a few days instead of weeks or months. We've also rapidly replaced bridges on Booth Street and Rochester Street, and we'll replace Percy Street Bridge in August and the Preston Street Bridge in 2024. These bridges are critical links for people and communities in Ottawa, with over 184,000 vehicles traveling this stretch of highway each and every day. And this program, to keep our bridges in a state of good repair, will keep commutes safe and improve the movement of people and goods throughout this growing region for years to come. Friends, our government is building the infrastructure that a growing Ottawa needs to reach its full potential. Together, we're building Ottawa, we're building Ontario now and for the future. Together, we're getting it done. Thank you all for joining us, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We'll now go to reporters' questions. If reporters could please line up at the microphone behind me. Please identify yourselves by name and outlet. And just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up. First question.
Good morning, Premier Ford.
Good morning.
Taria Isri from Global News.
Hi.
The Scarborough RT derailed last night. There are some who would argue that your decisions at City Hall a decade ago to keep the RT running contributed to some of these issues. Do you agree with that assessment, and what should happen with the RT now?
Well, I adamantly disagree. We had approval from the federal government to build this Scarborough subway. It would have been built by now, led by my brother, Rob. It was shot down by the provincial government. They didn't believe in supporting the people of Scarborough. We believe in supporting people of Scarborough, so we're going to decommission that LRT, and we're building the Scarborough subway. We have shovels on the ground. They're tunneling now, so this could have been done many, many years ago if the province would have stepped up and supported us. We had the funding, we had council approval, and we had the federal approval, but the province back then, under the Liberal leadership of McGuinty and Wynne, they refused to support the people of Scarborough. So that's changing now as we speak, and we're going to deliver subways finally to the people of Scarborough.
And then a question on Metrolinx. The CEO of Metrolinx recently complained to the Premier's office that your government controls all communications coming out of what is supposed to be an arm's length agency. Why is your government controlling public communications at Metrolinx?
Well, I didn't say we control it. We work hand in hand with Metrolinx. I've talked to Phil Verster on this item directly, and I always tell him, if there's something on your mind, go out and say it. I don't direct or control anyone.
Right. Good morning, Premier. Jeremy Sharon from CTV News.
Hi, Jim.
The Sens we've heard are lobbying your government for help with the downtown arena. Will the province help fund a new arena in Ottawa?
Well, no one's proposed that to me. I haven't heard that from Mayor Sutcliffe. So let's see what he has to say, and then we'll be able to decide from there.
And a British Medical Association journal series points out that Canada is at the top of the list of wealthy nations when it comes to COVID-related deaths in care homes. It's calling for a full independent national inquiry. Is there a need for an inquiry, and will Ontario support that call?
Well, again, you know, everyone went through challenging times, not just here in Ontario, but around the world. I want to thank all the docs and the nurses, frontline healthcare workers, and everyone else that pitched in. I found it very interesting. CBC said, out of all people, CBC, nothing against them, but said we ranked number 2 in the world next to Japan. So, again, I'd say I'll take that from CBC.
Hi, Premier. Davis Legree, iPolitics.
Hi, David.
Earlier today, through technical difficulties, you signed an MOU with Michigan trying to improve economic ties. Just wondering how you square that with Governor Whitmer's attempt to shut down Line 5, a pipeline that would supply half of Ontario's oil and gas.
Well, you know, we're their number 1 trading partner, and we're their number 1 trading partner back and forth. Automotive parts can go back and forth between the borders 8 times before it gets assembled in either Michigan or Ontario. Between Ontario and Michigan, 1 out of every 4 cars that are manufactured in North America are manufactured in one of the states. So I always look at working with all governors on things that we can agree on. And I know there's some challenges on Line 5. She knows exactly how I feel, but I still consider, Governor Whitmer a friend, a great partner on many different areas as well.
Did you specifically talk about Line 5 in the lead up to signing this MOU, and do you have a contingency plan in place if, months or years down the road, Governor Whitmer is ultimately successful in getting it shut down?
We never talked about it this time. We have talked in the past, and again, she knows how I feel. It's absolutely critical for Ontario and actually the U.S.
Bonjour. La question serait pour la ministre Mulroney.
Minister.
Julien Paquette avec le droit. J'aimerais savoir, vous avez probablement déjà entendu cette phrase-là avant, le train léger en ce moment à Ottawa ne fonctionne pas. Il y a eu une enquête publique l'année dernière là-dessus. Ce serait quoi la prochaine étape? si le gouvernement de l'Ontario veut s'en mêler pour essayer de faire quelque chose pour que ça fonctionne finalement.
Absolument. Écoutez, le projet de train léger à Ottawa appartient à la Ville d'Ottawa. Nous sommes un partenaire de financement pour la Ville d'Ottawa et c'est pour ça que nous avons établi la commission d'enquête. J'ai eu la chance de parler à plusieurs reprises au maire Sutcliffe concernant les mesures que la Ville compte faire pour adresser les problèmes du train léger. Je viens juste d'entendre de lui, il a dit qu'il a eu un briefage hier avec les médias et a adressé directement les mesures. En tant que partenaire, la province de l'Ontario veut absolument voir une résolution à ces problèmes, mais c'est absolument la Ville d'Ottawa qui doit prendre ces mesures.
Parfait. Et en tant que ministre des Affaires francophones, j'aimerais vous entendre sur le projet de l'Université de Sudbury. Il est annoncé il y a quelques semaines que le financement ne serait pas là. Est-ce qu'il y a une porte qui demeure ouverte si jamais le gouvernement fédéral voulait également contribuer, un peu comme on avait vu avec l'Université de l'Ontario français il y a quelques années?
Oui, écoutez, le gouvernement de l'Ontario, sous le leadership du premier ministre Ford, a été un grand champion de l'éducation postsecondaire en français, gouverné pour et par les francophones. Et c'est pour ça qu'on a mis sur pied pour la première fois dans l'histoire de la province cette université qui a été réclamée pendant très longtemps par la population francophone de l'Ontario. Le ministère des collèges et universités a mené un examen minutieux de la demande de l'Université de Sudbury, a conclu pour plusieurs raisons, incluant le fait que l'UOF existe, il y a la demande actuelle envers les programmes est satisfaisante. Et aussi, nous sommes en train de travailler avec le Collège boréal et la Laurentienne pour s'adresser à la demande dans le Nord. Donc, il y a beaucoup de travail qui va continuer à se faire dans le domaine postsecondaire en français et on va continuer à parler avec l'Université de Sudbury concernant leurs demandes.
Bonjour, Jean-François Dugas, aussi du droit. I'll ask Premier Ford actually the same question about the Sudbury University. We got news from not the financing like a few hours or a few minutes before Canada Day weekend. Kind of says that you didn't want to address the Francophone community. So I'm just wondering, why was that decision made and why wasn't anybody aware of it, even at the Sudbury University?
Well, we're massive supporters of the Francophone community. I think Minister Mulroney's done an incredible job. We'll always be there to support them. I know they had some challenges there, but we're there 100% behind them. And if did you already answer that in French? Yeah, okay.
And what would you say to the people down in Sudbury who feel like they were blindsided by this announcement?
Well, I'd say by no means do we ever want to blindside anyone. We're there to support the Francophone community like no other government ever has. We have a great minister, and we'll be there for them. We'll be able to support them any way we can.
Joe Tunney, CBC Radio. My question is about the LRT. Again, still shut down, going to be another week until it's open, problem flagged. My question for you is just, do you think Ottawans should be paying for this service right now?
Well, again, the City of Ottawa ran the show on this. I'm glad Mayor Sutcliffe is involved in it because I just feel he's going to get things done compared to the previous mayor. As everyone heard yesterday, and I had a chat with him yesterday as well about the bearings and the axle. They've identified it. They're going to fix it, and until they fix, phase one and start moving on phase two, we're going to forget about phase three. So let's fix the issues that are here, and then we'll talk about future transit here.
That actually leads into my next question,
Sure.
which is about that axle redesign. I mean, does that meet your threshold in terms of that stage 3 funding? Like, what do you need to see on your end to feel that confidence again?
Well, first of all, before I pass it to the minister, we want to see, line running without problems, running without derailments, running without issues. And it seems like every second week there's a problem. It could be a design, and by no means, folks, am I a design expert on that. I'm not an engineer, but you don't need to be. You just see the problems that they've had. I don't feel there was any leadership when it was being built, and now we have Mayor Sutcliffe in there. taking the bull by the horns, and I have confidence that he's going to make things happen. He's going to hold people accountable and get things fixed there.
Hi, Premier Ford. It's Sarah Pukal with City News.
Hi.
Just another question about the LRT. If you believe that past riders who have been without service for a week now, they'll be without service for another week. Do you believe that they should be funded and reimbursed, and how so? With what money?
Well, I can't answer the question that the mayor's in charge of. I don't want to be treading on his turf. That's going to be up to the City of Ottawa. It's going to be up to the mayor and the councillors. They'll determine that and then go from there. But I'm not one to dictate to a city who should be riding their transit and paying for it and who shouldn't be.
Okay. And Ottawa region used to have 3 cabinet ministers, and just wondering why there are none this year. The implication sort of is that Ontario's second largest city doesn't deserve representation. What would you say to that?
Well, first of all, you had the cabinet minister, Mayor Lee Fullerton, that served Ottawa really, really well. We have Goldie Gamari, that's a phenomenal MPP. Folks, we need you to get out and support Sean Webster in the upcoming by-election. It's absolutely critical. As you're implying, Ottawa needs more voices at the table. We have 2 great people, or actually three great MPPs in the region representing Ottawa, but it's always nice to have a 4th voice. I can't stress it enough. We have 83 people around the table, rightfully so, all screaming for their area. We need even more voices here for Ottawa. We've done an incredible job investing in the city of Ottawa, the surrounding area of Ottawa, putting billions of dollars, everything from transit to infrastructure to hospitals. So we've shown a tremendous amount of love to Ottawa. Unlike any other government, we've put more money and invested into the people here.
Hi, Premier Ford.
Hi.
This is Elise Skura from CBC News. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I just have one more question about what you were talking about with the axle bearings, and I understand you want to commit to seeing it actually working, but the bearings are going to take maybe 18 months of development, then it's going to be many more months. So are we going to wait years to find out whether or not we'll get funding for Stage 3?
Well, let's fix the problems on the other stages, and then we'll look at it. Again, we want to see a transit system that runs efficiently, just like the people of Ottawa. You know, it's unfortunately, again, it was totally mishandled from the previous administration, the previous mayor. We have a great mayor with Mayor Sutcliffe. I am confident he's going to make things move a lot quicker than what happened previously. So we're there. We've proved we're there through funding on Phase 1, Phase 2, but we're holding off on Phase 3 right now.
And, you know, I know you're well familiar with the inquiry and everything that was found out about the LRT through that. Alstom had said that they had difficulty making the, building everything, the mechanical fixes, because of Ontario's Made in Canada law, the Made in Canada manufacturing. You know, if Alstom comes back and says this is a problem again and we're not going to be able to get these fixes in place, is there any flexibility to that law?
Well, first of all, I don't see the same problem. In Toronto, we're building the largest transit system in North America. We haven't seen that problem like we've seen here, and I'm really disappointed when people start pointing fingers when they should look in the mirror and fix the problem. Simple as that. I'm proud to say everything should be made in Ontario. We're going to continue promoting Buy Ontario as much as possible, especially the billions and billions of dollars they're spending on infrastructure. When there's a chance to buy Made in Ontario, buy Made in Ontario. We need to support our province. And secondly, next to Ontario, buy Canadian. You know, I spent a lot of time in the U.S. They're experts at Buy America, Buy USA, and we're doing the same thing here in Ontario. We're an economic powerhouse, folks, in North America. I had a great conversation with the governor. They have a population of about 10 million. We're 15.5 million people. A GDP well over $1 trillion. If you look at other countries, we'd be ranked number 18th in the entire world. And it's all thanks to hardworking women and men that make this happen. They're the ones building the province. Always say government doesn't create jobs. We create the environment and conditions for companies to come here and thrive and prosper and grow. When they thrive and prosper and grow, so do the employees thrive, prosper, and grow. The feds came out with job numbers. That was a few weeks ago. I was in Manitoba. There were 60,000 great jobs created in Canada. 56,000 of the 60,000, 93%, were created right here in Ontario. Before I took office, the previous government chased 300,000 jobs out of this province. As we speak today, there's 700,000 more people working today than there were 5 years ago because we created that environment. No matter if it's a tech sector, we see it here in the Ottawa region, or life sciences, we've seen over $3 billion of investment, or $25 billion in the auto sector right here in Ontario. We're leading the world, and we're leading North America in economic development and job creation, thanks to the great people and the talent that we have here in Ontario. But thanks for that question.
This will be the last reporter.
Good morning, Premier Ford.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Joanne Lossius, Ottawa citizen.
Hi, Joanne.
You just urged people to vote for Sean Webster.
Yes.
He failed to show up at a debate, which caused some ire. I'd like some comment on that.
Well, I'm not running day-to-day operations. That was a campaign's decision. I'll tell you, Sean is a relentless worker. He's a brilliant business person, a strong speaker, and he'll have a loud voice at Queen's Park when he goes down there. But, I've been in politics for over 30 years, and you get some of these debates, and you go in there, there's a few people, and they've already decided. I'd rather have my candidate, personally, knocking on doors, meeting people face to face, and in any given time, you can do 200-300 doors in a few hours, meeting the people and telling them their plan. But he has covered this riding, it's unprecedented, 3 times. And I don't know how many of you have a chance to go out door knocking, no matter what party you're supporting. It's a massive riding, a ton of people, and he starts in the morning and doesn't finish till late at night. You couldn't have a better representative than Sean Webster.
Can you tell me a little bit more about his business experience? It's not really made too specific in his materials.
Sorry. He has a wide range of business experience, everything from the financial sector and having his own business and consulting. He's just a brilliant individual, but he's a caring individual. I went door knocking with Sean Webster. Sean is very personable. He's at the door. The difference between a lot of politicians and other politicians, he takes a page out of my book and my brother's book, and he looked at the people in the eye and said, "You have a problem? Number one, I'm going to return your phone call, but even better, I'm going to show up to your door and talk to the people directly." Very few elected officials. They get elected and they take off to never land. You never hear from them. Sean Webster is focused on customer service excellence, the experience that he comes from the private sector. And again, folks, it's not about winning a seat or losing a seat. It's about having a voice at Queen's Park, and no better representative than Sean down at Queen's Park for the folks in Canada. Carleton.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.